let's move on to your topic. I mean, obviously, look, your team. It's been one of those trying years for the Miami Dolphins, but it's also been disappointing in the sense that when you guys got Mike McDaniels as the coach, he was supposed to be the coach that was supposed to take Tua to that next level in terms of,
Yeah.
hey, make him a top 12 quarterback, and it's just throughout the years, through the concussions, the injuries, and now the turnover bug. It's just, the same interceptions, same reads, right, that have caused these interceptions. It's caused a lot of turmoil in the locker room. They just had a situation that happened. You know more than anything. So I'm gonna lead to the Miami Dolphin fans.
Yeah, so again, the Dolphins held a lead yesterday in the fourth quarter that they couldn't sustain. And Tua coughed up the ball twice before the fourth quarter. That led to 10 points off of turnovers for the Chargers. And when he had a chance, now, sure, it's a low probability that you're going to get from, your own 25 or whatever to get a touchdown to win the game. It's low, but in reality, they only needed a field goal. But even to get the big chunk of yards with one play left, the Dolphins still had an opportunity to make it a play, and instead Tua threw a lackluster interception to not even give the offense a chance. The guy he was throwing to was double teamed. There were options that were open. He's made a lot of questionable passes this year, and in the post game he was asked about what needs to change on the team, and instead of taking any accountability, like, he played like ass yesterday, but his post-game press conference was worse. He didn't take any accountability, blamed players for not coming either on time or at all to players-only meetings, not putting 100% effort in practice. So for your captain to sit there, who your franchise believes is the guy who makes the most money on the team, to sit there and point fingers and not take any accountability, I don't believe that a few years ago when Brian Flores and Tua were butting heads that Tua was the main culprit of the problem. But looking back on it, there's a reason that they just didn't jive. And so to sit here and think that you're not the problem and make comments like, win or lose, I get to go home to my kids who are proud of me, like, that's what you say when you play like pickup football in a field, not when you're on a national stage looking to be a franchise guy who you've given multiple opportunities to despite these injuries. I get that Mike McDaniel's not going to take a side here because he's not calling a players-only meeting. He's the coach. The players are coming to what the coach is asking, but if you don't have respect of your teammates and you don't have the camaraderie in the locker room, I'm not going to a players-only meeting. I don't want to hear anybody preach who doesn't think that they're the problem at all. I think that if there was an issue, you address it internally or in a coach's meeting, not the national media when you literally turn the ball over 3 times. We're a key reason that they lost. Now, that's not taking all the blame away from the defense, because there were many things that you could pick apart yesterday where there should have been tackles or less yards after catch or less yards after contact. But if you are making some stops or holding them to field goals, that's something that they couldn't do the first couple weeks of the season. So you can see them slowly progressing. Even if it's at a snail's pace, there are changes that are there. When on offense, he hasn't been the same since his last concussion. And to not give your team a chance and then go call out everybody else, not a leader, needs to go.
Yeah, I'll be quick here. I just think that the writing was on the wall, right? Where you had Tyreek Hill get injured and was practically happy to be done with the season. I mean, you guys have had a cultural issue in Miami. Um, the trade with Jalen Ramsey and what he was there to was telling his career, his production, and then bringing in Minka Fitzpatrick. Um, you know, Tua, right? He's been between his health and just his development as a quarterback. I mean, it's been this maturation. He shouldn't be having, the rookie issues he had on his first contract. We're on contract, what, number 3 now? Is it 3 or 2? 2. So we shouldn't be having these issues when you're like a 150 to $200 million quarterback at this stage in his career. I just think that it's just one of those things where Mike McDaniels is going to get fired. I mean, we both agree upon that. But I think the next coach pretty much is it's pretty much putting Tua on the hot seat, because when you get a new coach in there and you're not performing, what typically happens is the next year they draft a replacement. So, it's just one of those things. I think that for Miami, it's a tough spot, and it's a lot of frustration, and it's a lot of the fact that they have the roster to do well, but they're underachieving for what they have. And Mike McDaniels gets fired, and they bring in the next coach, and then it just puts Tua on the hot seat. It really does that. Either within that first year he lifts that team up, or he's pretty much going to be a career backup somewhere else, or go somewhere else and have a change in scenery. But I really don't see him doing anything else, because Mike McDaniels, as much headaches that you give him, he's not a bad coordinator. But if you can't do well with someone that's clearly coddles you and try to do everything you could to kind of make things work for you, I just don't see how you could do well with maybe a harder nosed coach that's going to demand excellence from him, possession in and possession out. And as a quarterback, you are the voice and leader of the team. I kind of nitpick and don't like when a player calls someone out that can't defend themselves, or things
Right.
they don't have a chance to really go back and say in context, well, we weren't getting, you weren't looking my way. We didn't practice this, well, what about this fumble? It's a weak move. And I just think it destroys a locker room. And I just think that it's gonna be rough sledding. I'm gonna pray for you, Kayla. It's gonna be really tough.
I get to go yell at Tua in person this weekend because I'm going to the game in Cleveland. So
okay, well, look, you let us know if you have a video of you doing that. We'll play it right here on the podcast. That's all the time we have for this week. Because we're both working people here, and we both got to pay the bills. We're going to talk some MLB maybe later on next week. We'll probably be in a championship World Series by then, but it'll be kind of a good time to take a look at. So we haven't forgot about the MLB. There's a lot of stuff going on. But for right now, we appreciate you guys. Please like, comment, and continue to follow us. We appreciate you guys' support. We continue to see the numbers climb on this channel. We continue to expand and do great things as we go. And we have some things cooking, so stay tuned for that. But for now, we will see you on the next one. And have a good day.